are experts in. And so I just want to explain to you a little bit about what it is and kind of the approach of the training. Okay? So, just very simple, so I make it very easy to understand. We have general strength, which is like machine stuff, right? Then we have sports-specific stuff, and then we have the event, and then we have this thing called functional training. And it's just a bridge. It's a bridge to get you out of the chair and into the sport. Cool? Within the system, there's a lot of complex stuff. But we're going to break it down very simple. Okay? When we look at functional training, we have to really look at what the body does. And we're going to train that. We'll call that functional training. So before you start diving into anything, you have to understand, what does the body do? And the body does 4 things. Super simple. What does my body do? My body does 4 things. It locomotes. That means it goes from point A to point B. It could do that by swimming, by cycling, by jogging, by skipping, by side shuffling, but it goes. We agree? We call that pillar number 1. Pillar number 2, the body level changes. Well, what does that mean? Well, the body hinges, and the body center of mass goes like this. Cool. Pillar number 3, the body pushes and pulls. Pulls stuff, it pushes stuff, right? A majority of the time, those pushing and pulling take place from the standing position, right? So you have to get very good at stabilizing the hips and creating strength from the standing position. And pillar number 4 is the body rotates. If I showed you an anatomy of the body is diagonal. So what does that mean? The body needs to rotate. The body was designed to move. Looking at the general conditioning, what's the problem with today's society? We sit too much. I have kids that come to my studio, they can't even touch their toes. How are you 11 years old? Your tissue is only 11 years old, and you can't touch your toes. More computers, more phones, more desks, more sitting on the subway. All of these things put the body in like a casted position. Well, what is running? Dynamic, huge extension, very explosive. So what we're noticing is we're starting to notice that the younger generation has less physical ability. And it's not their fault. It's just the evolution of technology has changed the environment. We don't climb trees anymore. We don't do all that fun stuff that I used to do as a kid. The kids are behind computers 80–90% of the day. Okay? So, how does that relate to our outdoor program? Well, we need to look at that, and we need to make sure that the movements that we're using kind of identify some of the issues that we all kind of have to deal with. Make sense? So, I just want to talk to you about a couple of movements that are paramount for any activity in that obstacle course. I don't care what it is. And I will be able to show you biomechanically how that one movement relates to all of that stuff. So get good at that, all of a sudden your runs get a little easier. All of a sudden when you're pulling things, you're a little stronger. Okay? Because functional training is about making muscle systems more efficient, not putting more muscle on you. Pretty good? Cool. So I'm going to use these guys as they've never done these before. So you guys actually get a chance to see them in real time, right? So I'm going to take this young man, high-level athlete, and we're just going to look at a couple of movements, yeah? I'm not going to put him on the spot. I'm not here to embarrass him, but we get an opportunity to say, he's already really good, yeah?
Yes.
He can get better. That's the crazy thing about it. When you're dealing with like ultra freaks, I say ultra freaks because they're so elite, like these guys, and you say like, holy smokes, she could get faster. Based on some of the things that we look at during movement. Make sense? Because where we see instability, we see power leakage. It's not an emotional thing. We're not emotionally attached to it. We just look at movement and we say, if she's unstable, every time that foot hits the ground, she's losing power. And so if I can get her strong with her training, imagine what she's going to go do in her race. She can get faster and win more. Well, that's kind of scary. So I'm going to look at this gentleman here. Is it possible that I can slide this over, sir? Thank you very much. These movements are movements that I want you to practice. Cool? Within the movement, I'm going to give you some progressions and regressions. We'll talk about the movement. There's just a few things I'm going to go over. Cool. So, go ahead and stand right there for me, sir. Is there anything physically bothering you today? Emotionally bothering you today? Okay. So, we're going to look at this body right here. Yeah? If he goes like this, go like this, that's called the anatomical position. Cool. That's what it looks like. Cool. If we notice, this is called an A frame. Super simple. Got it? A lot of traditional stuff strengthens the body with 2 feet on the ground. Squats, leg extensions, leg press, all good stuff. General strength stuff. But we're looking at a sport or an event that requires from one obstacle to another running. We agree? So we should look at locomotion and running, and we should say, how can we get better from one obstacle to another and more efficient? So I'm going to show you something that we call the anterior reach. Super simple exercise. We call it a nickel exercise. If I invested a nickel and I got $1 back, is that a good investment? Heck yeah. That's the anterior reach. It's a simple exercise. You don't have to go buy anything, but the feedback, the strength that you get out of it, super cool, right? Okay, so let's look at running. Running takes place one leg at a time. Left leg, right leg. Left leg, right leg. Yeah? Cool. So our training should develop left leg strength, right leg strength. That's called functional training. So I want you to stand on your left leg, sir. Cool. So we're just going to look at this gentleman's, super simple so you guys get to see what I see. You see how he hip hikes? Right? So he hip hikes. So I'm just going to adjust him because he might not know that he hip hikes. And so bend that knee a little bit. Perfect. And I'm just going to adjust. There you go. Perfect. You see this line right here? I want you to imagine it's a 7. 7 frame. Put that foot down. 8 frame. Go back to the 7. 7 frame. So, as this foot hits the ground, right, we need to make sure that this hip, this butt back here, is stable, that this hip doesn't collapse. Because if this hip collapses, your stride gets shorter and you get slower. Okay? What happens is people, as they start getting tired, the hips collapse and they fatigue, and then all of a sudden it turns into a shuffle. Cool? Go to your right leg. Cool. And I'll just adjust it. Actually, don't tilt. Perfect. Cool. So the first thing we want to do is get very good balancing and stabilizing on one leg. So if you're brushing your teeth, if you're washing some dishes, I mean literally get very, very good at just this. Okay? And teaching your body how to stabilize. Got it? Put your foot down. Cool. So I want you to look at this 3 levels. Knee, shin, and toe. Okay? And I want you to give me the perfect anterior reach for you. So I will demonstrate. You will follow. So, 1 line, 7 frame. Avoid the hip hiking, slight knee bend, yeah? And all I want you to do is hinge, don't go yet, and come back home. Watch me from the side. My hips stay level. I don't want this. I need the hinge. Look at my back. And come back. Cool. I want you to go to the knee, give me a little knee bend, just like that. Perfect. And I want you to think about keeping the hips hinging. Don't hip hike. Got it? Give me 5 reps. Start here. Begin. Perfect. Give me 1. Oh, this is very important. because he's never done this before, so you get a chance to see what I see. Hold on a second. Little knee bend. Give me 5. Nope, you're round in the back. I need a hinge. No round in the back. Perfect. 2. You can bring that leg back as that comes forward. Beautiful. 3. Good. 4. One more time. And 5. Relax. So here's my question to you. Do you think that he's ready to progress to the shin? Yes or no? Based on what you saw in terms of stability, do you think